My name is Ember. Welcome back to my channel, where today we'll be ranking Sims 4 packs based on how gay they are. I have actually done this video before, but a lot of new packs have come out since then, and I'm also going to go back and adjust some of my reviews of the previous packs. I think that video stands up pretty well still, even though it's over a year old, but there was a lot of like reaching and relying on like queer coding and sort of stereotypes. But in previous packs, we just really didn't have a lot of explicit queer representation. So that's kind of all I had to go off of. That's why for this ranking, I actually added a new tier. At the top, we have Actually Gay. If you've never made a tier list, they're kind of annoying. The websites for making tier lists are like not great. So I had to actually delete one of my tiers because I didn't have enough tiers, and also the character count, like it wouldn't fit. I had one tier called Go Give Us Nothing, which I thought was pretty good, but I've just collapsed that into our bottom tier, which is homophobic. The ones that just don't really have anything when it comes to queerness, or they're like actively detrimental, like Get to Work, which I talked about in my original video. I'll link that one if you want to go check it out. But the first thing I want to do is update my ranking for the base game. So originally I put the base game in Maybe If You Squint, like maybe there's queer representation if you squint, but we've actually had some more queer content introduced into the base game since then. I'm glad that we actually are getting some of these updates. So let's go into the game and look at those. In my last video, I showed off all of the different pride flags that we had, but there's actually been two new ones that have been added since then. So we have this like updated progress pride flag, which now has the intersex flag in there as well, along with the colors of the trans flag and some brown and black stripes. And then we also have this flag to represent like two-spirit identities, which I think is cool. I'm glad they added those. We do still have all of the same swatches that I discussed in my original video, but we've just added two new ones. I did talk about these pictures in my last video too. I just really like them. They were I think they were newly added when I did my last video, and I've actually made videos creating all of the Sims from this picture. The only other things that have been added to the base game that I was like maybe could be kind of queer are this rug, which sort of has like rainbows, I guess. And then there's also these like gates that we got with the infant update, like baby gates that are kind of colorful. I don't know, I'm reaching. I covered most of the stuff from like build and buy in the base game in my original video, so go check that one out if you want to see like a more comprehensive collection. Really, most of the changes that we've had are in Create a Sim and like with the Sims themselves. There is one feature I want to show off here though. So now we can go into home and have a science baby, which is actually really cool. I'm glad they added that. That came with like the infant update. So now any Sim can have a science baby as a single parent, or if they have like a close friend or say a partner that they couldn't just like biologically have a baby together, they can have a science baby, which is really cool. You can tell a lot more stories this way. You could have a baby with a friend, and what you do, you just click have science baby, and then they go off the lot and they come home with a baby. I like that this adds a lot of new types of families, and it can like help us mimic a lot of different experiences that people might have, whether that's getting like a donor or using a surrogate. All right, we're gonna go into Create a Sim because I did make these Sims to show off like specific things. We've had some pretty huge updates in Create a Sim when it comes to like queer representation. So the first thing you might notice is that now we can choose pronouns for the Sims. By default, male Sims would be referred to with he, him pronouns, and female Sims would be referred to as she, her pronouns. Now you can choose, if you don't choose anything, it'll just go back to the default, but you can choose they, them, she, her, he, him, or add custom pronouns. Now there are problems with this, and I've made videos talking about some of the shortfalls of these pronouns because the grammar for like they, them pronouns specifically is not great. Like it'll say stuff like they discovers that they likes. It's using the grammar for she or he, but just putting in they, which isn't really how that works. So it's kind of, the system hasn't been fully thought out. And then also I've experienced some problems where like there'll come up a notification and the pronouns aren't correct. So even a Sim, I've specifically set they, them, and then the text that I get will like use the wrong pronouns for them. It doesn't happen that often, but it has happened to me. And the custom pronouns don't affect other words used to describe a Sim. So this Sim uses they, them pronouns, right? But if we go into, okay, I actually have a mod on that makes all the language gender neutral, but I've shown it off in other videos. If I go into here, normally it would say like husband, brother, that sort of thing as the like relationships, even though the sim has they, them pronouns. That language won't be changed. I'm using the genderless mod by Foggity. That's how I have like, I actually do have gender neutral terms, but that doesn't happen naturally in the game. That's only with a mod. There is also, so we've had gender customization for a while. Again, I've made videos about this. It's still pretty binary, but they did add an option for can this sim produce milk, which I thought was very cool. That also came with the infant update. And I like that now, like regardless of the other stuff, you can just choose whether your sim can produce milk and like breastfeed a baby or not. I think that's pretty cool. And that can be like completely independent of anything else. And we also got a sexual orientation tab. Again, very binary when it comes to gender. You can select if the sim is attracted to men or women or both or neither. I do like that you can set it to like the sim isn't exploring romantically and they're not interested in woohoo with anyone. And this is a way to sort of simulate an aromantic or an ace sim, or like you could make a sim who's like romantic but like asexual, so say they're not interested in woohoo, or you could do like a sim that's aromantic but like not asexual. So I like that aspect of it. I don't like that you have to select men or women, because it, like, sims like Garrison, right? The sim is not a man or a woman. They're non-binary. They use they, them pronouns. We have, like, some gender customization options even. But this sim, because they're counted as male, will count under men in this section. So it kind of causes problems if you want to play stories with trans sims, because the game won't categorize them correctly, and it could lead to like a sim basically being transphobic, because if they're like, oh, I'm only attracted to women, and then your sim is like a trans woman, but like they're marked as male by the game, then your sim might reject them, or you know, something like that. I think this is pretty good for making Arrow or Ace sims. Other than that, it leaves a lot to be desired. For me, I usually just leave it on default settings where like they could be interested in woohoo with anyone, they're exploring romantically, so they'll be open to anyone, because then you can just make up your own story. They're clearly trying with these like all of this customization for gender and sexual orientation. It's just not, it doesn't feel to me like it's being made by someone who has an actual understanding of like trans and non-binary people. It just feels like that's not there at all. Because like being trans is not just like choosing between, am I gonna have masculine or feminine physical frame? Am I gonna have masculine or feminine clothing preference? And, like, this makes it really hard to make an actually non-binary sim, because you still have to choose between a binary for almost every option. And I've talked about it before in like a million things, but it's still impossible for a sim to have boobs and facial hair. So like this sim has a flat chest. There is no, like, you can't not have a flat chest if you have facial hair. And then if you like switch over to female, then the sim can't have facial hair anymore and now has boobs. So that there's still frame issues based on whether they're marked as male or female, and you have to mark every sim as male or female. So there's that. There is we did get a few new like clothing pieces. This shirt already existed in the game, but yeah, there's like a rainbow flag shirt. You have some interesting like rainbow underclothes kind of, and it also gave the sim rainbow nails. These were broken for trans sims, but they seem to have mostly fixed it. I did a few tests with the other sims here. Yeah, so with this sim, this sim is marked as male but has a feminine physical frame, and then I think it's specifically because of wearing masculine clothes, these shorts that make the nail polish kind of clip. It's not as bad as as it used to be, but it's still frustrating that they haven't completely fixed it. But yeah, see, so actually, yeah, this one was from the shirt, not the pants. So on this one, this sim is wearing a feminine cut shirt and the nails work. And then we go over to the masculine cut shirt and it's clipping with the fingernails. And that is, I think it's because we have a feminine physical frame, probably. For a while, they made it where no nails showed up, or most of the nails didn't show up if your sim was trans. So if they had if their marker here, male or female, didn't match with the physical frame, masculine or feminine, you just wouldn't have the option to give your sim nails, which was really frustrating, because we have these like literally pride nails with all this like rainbow and like bi and non-binary and all of these nails, but like we couldn't use them on trans sims. They finally got rid of of that restriction, which was a horrible approach to trying to solve the clipping issue. At least that has been fixed. These nails are nice. I still wish that they worked for everybody. But if you haven't been using painted nails on your trans sims, you should be able to now, for the most part. And if there is clipping, you might try just like changing the piece of clothing they have and it might fix it. Speaking of clothing, we also got 2 other pieces. We got this that's supposed to be a binder, but it doesn't bind. Like, they added it to the game and we're like, look, a binder. But like, it's giving sports bra. Like, there is no binding happening with this. I can't believe they added a binder to the game that doesn't actually bind. It's just, wow. And there's also this, which I think is supposed to be like shapewear. I don't really get that because we can't exactly wear underwear under other things. Like, you can wear this by itself, but you couldn't like wear this under jeans or anything. I don't know. Does anyone use this? Has anyone used this? I haven't really. And I haven't really used the binder because, again, you can't wear the binder under anything, which is usually what you would do with a binder. You could wear it as a tank top, but you'd kind of want it to, like, actually bind a little bit, which it doesn't do. So I don't know. That just overall seems kind of pointless to me. We also got a few base game clothes updated with rainbow swatches. It looks really tacky. I'm not really a fan of this. They added this to the base game when My Wedding Stories came out. We got some of these little pride swatches. I don't know. It's, again, has anyone used these? It feels more clowncore. And like, these are really old dresses. And so like the textures just aren't that good. We also have the same thing on this on this dress. I just like, what? Who thought this was good? Who thought this looked good? That could maybe look good, but like, who was like, yes, this looks good? Because I'm not sure I agree, actually. Oh yeah, I was also showing off, we did get top surgery scars, which I have on this sim. It's pretty cool. You can't see it under like most shirts, but if you want to have your sim go topless, have some top surgery scars, you can. So I mean, that's cool. I'm glad they added that. And now I think that's all for the adults, but we did get some new stuff for kids and infants. So infants didn't actually exist when I made my last video, and I do like how much rainbow stuff they gave for the infants. We have this cute little rainbow bucket hat. We have this shirt, which is available, I think, for like all of the ages of kids. And then we also have rainbow shoes. I was gonna say, I think that's all for the infants. We also have this little onesie with a rainbow. I don't know. I mean, it's cute, I guess. And we also have this other hat. Well, it's the same hat, but it's a different swatch, which also has a rainbow. And we have this cute little outfit with a rainbow unicorn on it. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think it's very cute. And then for toddlers as well, they have some of the same things. They have this little unicorn rainbow thing and also rainbow shoes. And you can even give them rainbow nails, which are very cute. They also have this t-shirt. Like I said, I think it's available for most of the like kid ages. A lot of rainbow unicorn stuff going on. This hat. There's actually, yeah, there's less for like children. You can also give the kids custom pronouns, which is nice. They have the same problems as elsewhere, but you know, it's there. You cannot customize like gender or sexuality settings until they're a teen, which is kind of frustrating. Because you can basically, for like your children, you can only choose male or female. Even though their frames don't change that much, the annoying part for me is like if your sim is marked as male, it automatically filters for masculine clothes. And like when they age up, it'll give them a masculine haircut and everything. And if it's marked as female, it automatically filters for female clothes and will give them a feminine haircut when they age up, which is just really frustrating when you're trying to tell storylines with trans kids, because like they age up and immediately how you dress them and everything is completely reverted. You know, it's completely changed, so that's frustrating. If you dress your kid up and you're like, okay, I like these outfits, and then you want to just change their gender so that like when they age up, you won't have that problem, it completely changes all of the outfits, which is frustrating too. Overall, they did add some nice things for queer representation in the base game. I know I complain a lot. I have critiques. There's definitely some improvements here. Custom pronouns are cool. Having like top surgery scars, having, well, I was gonna say binders, but not really. I don't really count the binders as anything because they don't bind. But having a few more options, the new swatches of the pride flags, the being able to have a science baby. With all of that, I think I'm definitely gonna move the base game up. It definitely could be gayer. There's definitely things that still need to be fixed, which is why I'm hesitant to put it into like pretty gay. Even though like there's definitely some good queer representation, there's also a lot of things that's like needs to be fixed. I feel like it's kind of in between these two. I'm gonna leave it in could be gayer for now, but it's like in between these two tiers. All right, now we're gonna move on to our first new pack, which is high school years. There's actually a lot of queer representation in the high school years pack, so let's go look at that. In a lot of the other packs, like in the base game, there's almost no queer representation when it comes to the pre-made Sims, but in high school years, that's where it really shines. So I'm gonna look at like each of these families. We're just gonna go through and check out what representation we have in each of these families. So first, the Prescotts. The mom here is like the principal at the school. I think this is like their granddad is like the janitor. But the cool thing in this family is that Molly Prescott, who's a teenager, is canonically a lesbian. She is only romantically attracted to women and only interested in messing around with women, and she is not exploring romantically. So this is the first time we really got to see the use of the sexual orientation tab, and I think that's cool. I like that we have Molly as a lesbian. That's pretty awesome. I think they also mentioned this in the trailer too. The trailer had like all of their pronouns showing up on screen, and like, I don't know if it fully established it, but it like definitely told some queer stories in the trailer as well, which is nice to see. A lot of times the Sims trailers will have some queerness, but it's not reflected in the game. So it's nice to see it actually reflected like canonically. If you were playing as Molly or playing with Molly and you had like a man try to flirt with Molly, she wouldn't be into it. Like, that's cool. Next, over here we have the Price family. It's a pretty big household, and we also have some queer storylines here. I'm not actually sure whose bedroom is supposed to be whose, but this is one of the kids. I think it's either Savannah or Sydney's room. And we have this Progress Pride flag in here. We also have this queer painting, which I really like. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be Savannah's or Sydney's. We have ribbons on the wall. We also have a room out here. Let's go into Create a Sim and see if we can figure it out. So this is Sydney. Sydney was also in the trailer for this pack, and he is canonically bisexual, which is also very cool. So like, if there was a bi flag, I'd be like, yeah, Sydney. I don't actually know, what is Savannah? Do we have... So Savannah is Arrow Ace, which is also very cool. They actually made a canonically Arrow Ace sim, like I was saying. So that's awesome. We have Savannah. Sydney's bi. I think this is like an exchange student that lives with them. He's straight. I think the parents are straight also. I know Sydney, so Sydney is a cheerleader, right? He has this like cheer outfit and everything. Oh, he also, I didn't know that. He has his formal outfit. He has a rainbow tie. That's cute. That's good for like prom. So yeah, I'm thinking that this bedroom is maybe Sydney, since it has those ribbons, like maybe they're cheerleading ribbons, but I'm not actually sure. Let me know what you think, which room Savannah lives in and which one Sydney lives in, because this is one of theirs. They have like this outdoor area. I feel like I'm correct that this one over here is Kevin's room. With that, let's move on to the next family. There's only 3 pre-made families here. So last we have the Harjos. So Ash is non-binary. I think they use they and she pronouns, but I don't know if it's actually set in Create a Sim. But the info panel here does say that Noah spends his time training for football and daydreaming about his secret crush, Sydney Price. So that's cool. I do like they explicitly put it in there, you know, Noah has a crush on Sydney. So down in the basement, we have this cool little area, which is where Ash lives, as you can tell by their trans pride flag up on the wall. I think this pack is the first time we've had pre-made lots with pride flags in them, and I really like that bit of storytelling. The rest of the house is kind of boring, to be honest, but I'm assuming this is Noah's room since he is into like football and stuff. Actually, let's see their relationships. Oh, I don't know if it was supposed to be like that, but Noah has a negative relationship with Sydney and they have bad compatibility. I mean, compatibility didn't exist when this pack came out. Also, they're rivals. They're on rival high school teams. I was kind of hoping that like, you know, maybe there'd be a bit of romance there, but no, kind of the opposite. Let's check him out in Create a Sim. So Noah, let's see, what is his sexual orientation? So he's gay, but he is like into exploring romantically. So he's primarily interested in men, but the romance could change. He could explore. And as far as we know, like he's cis. But then we have Ash. Okay, so we do have they, them pronouns in here for Ash. So that's good. And I think in the trailer it says something about them using they, she pronouns. So this is Ash. This is our first like really canonically non-binary character. We have Morgan Ember. We have some of the like Sims from Sulani from Island Living, but none of them like they didn't have something specifically in the game saying like this sim is non-binary. And I mean, Ash even has a trans pride flag in their room, and it specifically says they use they them pronouns. So this is a pretty big milestone. Ash has some cool outfits. We have some nice suits and stuff. Okay, some of them are not good. So it's okay. The party wear, see, that's pretty good. It's an interesting mishmash of styles. They're supposed to be like a style influencer. Let's look under gender. So let's see. They're marked as female and have a masculine physical frame, but a feminine clothing preference. They cannot get others pregnant or become pregnant, can produce milk, can use the toilet standing. So it's just they kind of mixed and matched some of these gender customization options. Sexual orientation. Ash is like only into men and is not into exploring romantically. This kind of bugs me because the sim is like non-binary, and like obviously you can be like non-binary and like only attracted to one gender or whatever, but I don't know, this system doesn't account for non-binary people, so I kind of don't like the rigidity of this, because like if you had a non-binary sim, even if you had like a non-binary sim who's like trans mask or whatever, Ash might not be into them in the game, but like a lot of non-binary people are more flexible about like dating other non-binary people. I don't know. You know, this is our first canonically non-binary sim, and I'm glad we finally have that. So as far as pre-made sims, this pack is doing really well for the queerness. But now let's go look at like build by mode and also create a sim. So I just put a few things down in here that I thought were like queer. These posters feel like kind of explicitly queer. There's like a peace sign with like the two different gender symbols together. I don't know, that could be like specifically non-binary. We also have like rainbow rugs. We have this bi mirror. We have lots of like very colorful things that like I feel like a queer teen would have in their room, right? So I do like that. There's not a ton that's like explicit, but the vibes are there. If you're wanting to decorate a bedroom for a queer teen, you could definitely do it with this pack. And if you want to make an outfit for a queer teen, there's also a lot to work with. I like that I can make this whole outfit in like trans pride colors. It's just very cute. And then also this hair. On like once the black swatch of this hairstyle, the little beads around the hair are rainbow colored, which is cool. There is also this. I really like this. This is one of the dresses that comes with the pack that's like sort of rainbow colors. I think it's very cool. We also have some jewelry and accessories like this. And then on this sim, we have like a tie-dye rainbow shirt. This hairstyle also comes in the pack. I think it's kind of queer. Oh, and we also have this suit in like sort of subtle pastel rainbow colors. So this pack does come with prom. And one thing that I like about it is that at prom, you can vote on prom royalty, but you're not voting for prom king and prom queen. There's two votes. There's one for prom royalty and one for prom jester. So they actually made that ungendered, which I really like, that you can have your sims participate in that without them having to like fit into like being either a man or a woman. Like they can just be prom royalty and they can be the prom jester. I think that's pretty cool. Let's go to the school real quick just to check some things out. There's a few more things we need to look at. Another thing that I like about this pack is that the after school activities are like not gendered. So Sydney can be part of the cheerleading team. If you have a female sim, they can be part of the football team. Like, it's not an issue. Anyone can join. There's really no reason to gender it. Speaking of no reason to gender things, I present the bathrooms. I'm sure they thought they were doing something with the like, oh, we have one for women, one for men, and one for everybody. But like, you didn't need to gender it. Personally, I find these gendered doors so annoying because this one will like stop your sim from going in if they're not marked as female by the game. So like Sydney won't be able to go into this one. And I don't know about y'all, but I often play the Sims with walls down. So I'm not looking at what the doors are. I can't see that door is like the one that will block Sims from going in. So if my sim needs to go to the bathroom, I'm just gonna like find a toilet and click on it. But in this case, because that door is like women only, Sydney can't go in there. And if you had a female sim, they couldn't go in the red one. They could have made them all non-gendered. If you still wanted to do color coding, you can do that. But like, there's no reason that there needs to be a separate men's and women's and then like a all gender one. They do this upstairs too. Also, like, the men's and women's restrooms are bigger. So we have, like, the women's restroom here. It has 2 stalls, but then this is the non-gendered one. There's only 1 stall in here. And then the same thing over here. I mean, I guess that there's, like, a stall on each side, so maybe it's the same amount technically. But I don't know. That was unnecessary. I wish that was not the case, that they put these doors that like lock Sims out of the bathroom based on their gender. Aside from that, honestly, this is a pretty great pack for queer representation. The gendered bathroom doors, I think, are probably my only complaint when it comes to like queer representation for this. So with all that in mind, I think it's safe to say that high school years go straight up into actually gay. We have a lot of explicit queer representation for like the first time. In previous packs, we'd have like one or two couples, and usually that was also the thing. I like that in this pack, they don't have to be in a couple to be gay. Like, like there's a lesbian sim, and it's not like, oh, we know she's a lesbian because she's dating a girl. We just know she's a lesbian. Or like, we know the sim is trans. We know that this sim is bi. Like, I like that that's in the game and not just sort of an inference that you have to make. Next up for expansion packs, we have our most recent one. We have Growing Together. Although we are about to get the like Horse Ranch expansion pack. I wonder how queer that one's gonna be. I kind of doubt that's gonna have a lot of explicit representation, but I could be pleasantly surprised. We'll see. But for now, let's talk about Growing Together. For Growing Together, we once again have like actual explicit queer representation in the families, which is really good to see. So first, let's go look at the Robles-Ruano family. In this one, we have Jay Robles, who's canonically non-binary and uses they, them pronouns, and their wife, Dolly, and then they also have a kid, Tala. It also says, like, it says the Robles-Ruano family is a bit on the unconventional side, but being conventional is so boring. I don't really feel like they're all that unconventional, aside from the fact that Jay is non-binary. I don't know if they're referring to something else there, but that's kind of funny. Let's go take a look at them and create a sim. So here, like I said, Jay is canonically non-binary, the second pre-made sim to come with they, them pronouns. They also have some custom gender settings. So they're marked as male, but have a feminine physical frame and masculine clothing preference. This sim can also get others pregnant. There is one negative thing. So Jay, because the game sees Jay as male, even though they're non-binary, when you look at Dolly's sexual orientation, it says she's only romantically attracted to men, which feels like it's not great because like her partner isn't a man, you know? I think this is just an oversight that they didn't think about, which is why I think that this system shouldn't be so gendered. I don't really know how they could have set this up in a way that would work. Even if they just added a like non-binary category, it would be better at least. But yes, that's kind of disappointing that Dolly's like specifically into men when her partner's not a man. And there's no reason to think that like she's not attracted to Jay, you know? So Jay is specifically like bi. Let's go look at the other family that's relevant. I think it's actually pretty cool that the Michelsons were showcased in the trailer, and you might think that like they were cishet, but actually Celeste is a trans woman. I think that's pretty cool that they just like had a trans sim. She's just living life, you know, like anybody else. And Celeste and Christopher have two cute kids. I think that's pretty cool. It's actually mentioned, there's like a dialogue. You can like share San Sequoia secrets or something like that. And there is some dialogue that'll come up saying like something about Celeste being trans, but it seems to be handled pretty well. I'll link, there was a video that Tycho Curious did about that, about Celeste being trans. So I'll link to that if you want to see the like specific dialogue that pops up about it. As far as like the info here, it just tells us that Celeste and Christopher met working at the same startup. They got married and adopted both of their kids. Let's look at their house. I don't think their house has any like explicit representation. Okay, this may not be on purpose, but the flowers here are kind of in trans flag colors. I wonder if that was on purpose. Probably not, right? But that would be cool. I don't think there's like a trans flag or, oh no, there's this. Oh, look at that. We do have this picture in here and it's like in trans flag colors. Oh, and there's like, yeah, this room is like trans flag colored. Oh, I like that. That's like their little study, and it has these cute, and it has a rainbow swatch down here, and we have these two queer paintings. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't even realized like they do actually have representation, like queer representation in their house. That's cool. We do have pronouns here for Christopher. We have he, him pronouns. Gender, as far as I know, yeah, he's like cis. And for his romance, he's only into women, though he's like interested in woohooing with everyone, which is kind of, this sort of is what the game naturally does. So like how with Dolly and Jay, Dolly was only attracted to men romantically because she's romantically with someone that the game sees as a man. If your sim like flirts with women, then the game will be like, oh, they like women, which doesn't preclude them liking men, but it's like the game says that. So at least the game sees Celeste as a woman, so it says like he's only romantically attracted to women. Let's look at Celeste. So she is marked as female and has she, her pronouns. And then under gender, she also has a feminine physical frame and feminine clothing preference. So you might like not notice at first even that she's trans, but she can get others pregnant. So that's like kind of the main way that you would know. And also like there's dialogue in the game about it. She's only romantically into men, which is probably just because she's married to a man. And they didn't like go in and adjust that. But that's cool. I like that there's 2 canonically trans Sims in this pack, even though you might not know about Celeste at first, but I think that's also good. Like not every trans person is telling everyone that they're trans. A lot of people might not realize that they're trans. She's just living as a woman, as a lot of people do. You know, it's not like a big deal. So I think it's cool to have like representation of different types of trans experiences. So that's the pre-made Sims for this pack. We do also have another household over here, but they're not really of interest for as far as queer representation. Oh, we also have this one, the Luna Sullivan household. So this is the default in the game. All Sims will have no boxes checked under romance, so will explore romantically, and they're interested in woohoo with men and women. So this tells me they didn't like set anything for this Sim. And they'll just like, their romance and stuff will change based on who you have them flirt with and everything. There's no like customization of gender or sexual orientation for this family. Of course, you know, you can tell whatever story you want, but it's just not like explicit in the game. Let's go look at build mode and create a Sim. There's not like a ton of stuff in build mode, but there's some things. This bed is sort of like has rainbows. There's a swatch for this bassinet with rainbows in it. This is the bassinet that you get for gold in the baby shower event. So if you want a little rainbow one, you can get that. I just thought some of this was cute. Like look at this little bear riding on a horse. That's so cute. And this thing has some drawings. There's a rainbow, and there's like the tooth fairy thing. They're just various crafts with rainbows on them. A lot of the kid stuff, they'll just have like a bunch of different colors, so you can easily make sort of rainbow themed stuff. But there's not a ton of like explicitly gay build mode items in this one. Now, if we go into create a Sim, it's mostly the same story. Although like there's some cool stuff. I like this. Again, we've got some trans pride colors. If you ever want to make a Sim in like the colors of the trans pride flag, you have a lot of options. This Sim, again, we have more trans pride flag stuff. And if you look closely, these earrings are like rainbow, one of the swatches. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of subtle, but that does exist. There's not really a ton in Create a Sim. Let's see, I have a kid here too. So for kids, there is this like rainbow shirt. There's these cute little like bracelets. I think they can make friendship bracelets. There might be a rainbow swatch on that, if I recall correctly. I don't know. The Create a Sim and build mode aren't like blowing me away. I feel like high school years overall is better for queer representation, but I do like that there are 2 trans Sims in this pack. I don't know, I think it still goes in actually gay, but just maybe like a little bit less so. Actually, I do need to adjust some of these other ones. Like, I think that I would put Island Living in actually gay because it has a lot of queer characters and there's also like a lot of like rainbow stuff. Cats and Dogs, it does have a canonically gay couple, but that's pretty much it. Eco Lifestyle has 2 canonically lesbian couples, so that's cool. Realm of Magic has Morgan Ember. I think Island Living definitely belongs up in this category, but I'll leave it things like this for now. I'm gonna skip over My Wedding Stories for now because that pack is kind of a train wreck, and I also don't own it because, you know, it's kind of a train wreck. But let's go to Werewolves. I really like the Werewolves pack. Let's talk about it. So Werewolves is a game pack. There's not a lot of lots here. There aren't. But like the environmental storytelling of this pack is kind of amazing. As far as Sims, there's like 2 competing werewolf packs. Christopher is the leader of one. And he also has, so then the other one, Rory, is not like in a specific household, but does exist in the world. And there's kind of an interesting story here where like Rory's relationship with her adoptive father has soured. So Christopher is her adoptive father, and she sort of like rebelled and made her own pack. Let me show you Rory because she's very queer coded. Rory is over here in her werewolf form right now, so I'm gonna go into Create a Sim so I can show you. So this is Rory. I don't know. She's very queer coded, right? I feel like Rory would have been a good Sim to also use they them pronouns. But we got this pack before the pronoun update, and they refer to Rory as she her. So yeah, that's what I'll use. She has a lot of scars. She has like these boots and this like blue mullet. I mean, come on. It's just very, very queer coded. I guess I feel like she's kind of like butch, actually, like specifically butch. Honestly, she does not wear a lot of clothes. She really doesn't. A lot of them are kind of ripped up. But yeah, this is Rory. Again, it's all queer coding. There's nothing explicit, but like, this is a queer sim, right? Like, are we on the same page with that? I just feel like that's kind of obvious. And the whole like being estranged from Christopher feels to me like a very queer storyline as well. I think that could be fun to play out. Here is Rory's werewolf form. I think like, kind of like I said about vampires, werewolves are just like kind of queer. As like, you can definitely use this as an allegory for a lot of queer experiences. I don't know, just like supernatural beings are gay. I don't know what to tell you. Vampires are gay, werewolves are gay, unicorns are gay, aliens are gay, robots are gay. And like, they're also like, some of them are like specific types of gay too. Like I feel like robots are very like a very agender mood, right? And then like, you know, there's like fairies and stuff. Like supernatural creatures are queer. Okay. Anyways. So there's that. Honestly, this is a really good pack. I don't know. All these abilities, everything. There's a lot here. Even though there aren't that many lots, the world is pretty cool. Let's go look at some of the queer stuff in build buy mode. So here's some of the stuff that comes with the pack. I don't know, just like, none of it's really explicitly queer, but just some of the vibes. Some of the vibes feel queer to me, like all these posters and stuff. I don't know. There's this like wolf human thing with like the different colors. And then there's actually a bit of lore in this pack. I know, surprising. So this is like the little shelf of all the stuff that you can collect that like your Sims can find throughout the world. And it has a lot of lore. I think I'm gonna have to like zoom out to be able to see it. I read through all of these. There's kind of a lot, but there are a few queer things. So on this figure, canine familiar figurine Ringa, it says, you recall from your werewolf studies that this was the wolf familiar of Yina Kia, one of the original Mooncasters, which there's a whole bunch of lore you can find out if you want. We're looking at the specifically gay stuff. So it was saying like, Yina loved going on adventure to unfamiliar places, and her wolf familiar had a similar wanderlust. But then it says that this was much to the frustration of her non-werewolf wife, Emmy, who only wished they could settle once the vampire conflicts were over. One day, Yina accidentally became a cowplant's lunch. So unfortunately, Yina died from a cowplant, but then it says that Ringa was practically glued to Emmy's side for the rest of his days. So it's like, even though Yina died, her familiar was still there for her wife. I don't know. It's, you know, it's not a ton, but in all this lore, there is a queer couple. It definitely could be more at the forefront, though. None of the, like, other couples that are talked about are queer. Yeah, that's it, actually. From all of this lore, that's the only, like, explicit bit of queer representation we have. But let's go look and create a sim. In this household, I actually added some werewolves I made. You may recognize from previous videos, I made these trans werewolves. And then, like, I did some gameplay with them as well. I also built a queer werewolf hideout for them. So if you want more queer werewolves content, I have plenty of that. But I don't know, I just really like these Sims that I made. Like, I made a trans woman and her non-binary sibling, and then her partner who's a trans guy. So this is a Sim that I have to, like, actually look at the clothing and stuff. So of course we have this, like, brightly colored mullet thing, which just feels very queer. We have face piercings, again, gay, as well as these little, like, wolf pendant piercings that have a rainbow swatch. That's kind of cute, right? And there's also there's a matching swatch on this necklace. And then there's, like, some nice little flannel with patches, some, like, visibly mended pants. I feel like visible mending is gay. I don't know. These boots. And yeah, that is just kind of the general vibes. Also for the werewolves, like, you can paint them however you want. So, like, you could paint a rainbow queer werewolf. Here's me trying out all of the stamps. There's a lot of different stamps, actually. You could do, like, lots of different colors, different designs. You could draw people being gay on the werewolves for, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff you could do. So there's definitely potential in this pack, but there's not a lot of explicit gay representation. Like, the most explicit gayness in this pack is the swatches of these earrings and this necklace, and that one bit of lore from that one artifact. So in light of that, as much as I like the Werewolves pack, I think it's gonna have to go in Could Be Gayer. I will admit, it's better than the Vampires pack. There's a little bit more explicit queerness than the Vampires, but it definitely still could be gayer. There's not really an explicitly queer sim like there are in all the rest of these packs, so I think it's gonna go in Could Be Gayer. So I went back and watched the original version of this video, and I think most of my rankings there can stand, but there are a few I want to revisit, specifically because there's stuff packs that I didn't have at the time I did the ranking that I now own. So let's go look at backyard stuff. So here are a few of the items from backyard stuff. Not a ton that's like explicitly gay, but there's lots of bright colors. There's frogs. Like I said, you know, frogs are gay. There's butterflies, flowers. This picture is like kind of bi colors, sort of. There's like a frog slip and slide. I don't know. It's not like a lot, but also most of the stuff packs aren't a lot. They don't really have much explicit representation. This chair is like kind of trans flag colors. I don't know. I made a couple of sims to look at stuff, so let's go into create a sim. One thing I did like, there's this shirt in the pack, which is like kind of the lesbian flag. I think that's kind of cool. This hair is also nice. It's a nice one. That's pretty much mostly what I could find. There was also a problem with this pack though. Some of the shirts are like they don't work on all frames. So this specifically, it's like a swimsuit type thing. It's a bodysuit. Seems to only work on sims that are marked female. So this sim over here is marked as male, and we don't have access to that shirt, I believe. Someone's just missing from our options for whatever reason. It's not like that big of a deal, but it is frustrating to not have access to everything for like all frames of sims. There's really no reason that shouldn't be the case. And also like the back of this is pretty cute. Like why couldn't they make that available to all sims? I also had this, like, you know, there's a little flannel shirt, so it's like kind of gay, I guess. It's probably safe to say that we can just leave backyard stuff in If You Squint. I would actually move it to like the end because there's really not that much at all. But now we just have a little bit more evidence to support that. And then I also wanted to look at bowling night stuff because that's another pack that I bought recently. There's some kind of cool things in bowling night stuff. It's, you know, it's colorful. This clock is like trans flag colors. There's like flashing lights and stuff. It's not like particularly gay. Actually, I don't think I noticed this before. This up here is rainbow. So there you go. There's a rainbow there. But other than that, there's not a ton. If we look and create a sim, I just liked this outfit. It felt like sort of lesbian, maybe. And then also I like this haircut. It feels very good for like butch sims. Also this like little outfit and the bowling glove. I don't know. It feels like a queer look to me. There's not a ton, but again, most stuff packs there aren't a ton. I think I might actually move bowling night up to If You Squint with backyard stuff because they're kind of on a pretty even playing field there. There is one more thing I want to revisit, and that's vampires. So I mentioned in my original video that a lot of people see Caleb as like canonically bisexual, but I was confused because I didn't know where people were getting that. Like I didn't see anything in the game to indicate that. People commented and said that it was from like trailers that showed Caleb being bisexual. So I went and looked at the official Sims 4 vampire trailers and I couldn't find it. It seems like it's in a teaser trailer. So it's not in any of these like official trailers right here. I found the clip. I don't know if this is what y'all are referring to. You'll have to let me know. I couldn't even find it on the official Sims channel. I found it at the Sims VIP. It's a Sims 4 vampire teaser clip. It's in vertical mode. But there's like a split second in this trailer that shows Caleb kissing men and women, and people took that and ran with it and were like, he's bi. Here it is. There you go. So yeah, we switched to a girl, a guy, a girl, and he's like kissing their hand. And as far as I can tell, people took that and ran with it and said that Caleb is bi. And like, honestly, I love that. I mean, if you watched my original video, you know, like I'm all for random theories based on almost no evidence and like queer coding and stuff. But it's just so funny to me that like, it was like half of a second, probably less than that, of Caleb kissing like a girl's hand and a guy's hand, and everyone's like, he's bi. And I love that, but definitely doesn't change my ranking because it's like nowhere in the game, in the pack, not even in the official trailers that I could see. Maybe there's something I'm missing. If there is, please let me know in the comments, but that was the only evidence I could find of Caleb's bisexuality. All right, now speaking of trailers, let's look at My Wedding Stories. Like I said, I don't own this pack, and a lot, like, it introduces a new way to do weddings, and as far as I know, a lot of people who bought the My Wedding Stories pack don't ever have weddings anymore because it kind of ruined weddings for them, which is not really good selling point for the pack. There is a lot of like sort of queer stuff in it, but let's watch the trailer. Okay, I'm gonna record a voiceover for this section because I, again, did not realize that the music from the trailer was actually getting recorded along with my voice when I originally made this, and I was giving important commentary on this trailer. So basically on the My Wedding Stories trailer, there's a couple that's getting ready to get married, a girl and a guy, and the girl, like, one of her best friends is sort of helping out with planning the wedding, and she's getting increasingly frustrated with her fiance, and it basically all culminates in the day of the wedding. She leaves her husband-to-be for this, like, her girl best friend or whatever, and they kiss, and then, like, they end up getting married. I can see this being this exact type of plot that like someone might play out in their Sims game. The thing you have to realize is that we don't really have that much bisexual representation in The Sims. And so this kind of really heavily plays into the whole cheating bisexual trope. Like, to have a bi sim leave her husband on her wedding day for her friend. Like, a lot of people were pointing out at the time, to go and like kiss someone else on your wedding day at the wedding is kind of just a really bad move. Like, even if she realized she didn't want to get married to this guy, like, that is not the way to do it. And it kind of just plays into this idea that like, oh, a bi person, like, they're gonna leave you for whoever. Like, it's just reinforcing negative ideas about bi people. And there's a lot of ways that you can establish someone as bi without doing the whole cheating bisexuals trope. Even just having her realize she didn't want to get married to him and like she was interested in her friend, like they could have done that without her kissing her literally at their wedding. You could establish a sim as bi by just saying, hey, they're bi. You could put a bi flag in their room. But just overall, this is not a great way to include bi characters. And especially the fact that, like, I kind of thought these Sims would be main characters in the My Wedding Stories pack. And that doesn't always happen with trailers, but I just feel like a lot of the trailers are kind of queerbaity because these two are present in the world, but they're not as like a playable household. They're elders that are just sort of like around. The whole trailer just sort of left a bad taste in my mouth, especially because these Sims aren't even like a main focus of the pack. They're just sort of like there. I'm interested to hear y'all's opinions on that. I want to do a video on like specifically queerness in Sims trailers and like how the Sims franchise has used queerness as marketing, because it's kind of like a glaring thing how they'll have certain queerness in the trailers that isn't necessarily in the packs themselves. I don't know, there's something fishy going on there. I think I might make a video about that. Also, leave in the comments if you know of any like particular examples of any Sims game marketing queerness, basically queer baiting, marketing queerness that's not necessarily implicitly in the game. I'd be interested to hear about that if you have any examples. But even though I don't own My Wedding Stories, I do want to give it like a fair chance. So let's look at this, like what can we see from the create a sim and build mode items. I think that there are rainbow swatches on a lot of the dresses like I showed with the base game dresses. I don't know that they're very well done, but I think they do exist. From what I've seen, it seems like this pack does have a lot of rainbow. You don't necessarily, like, that's the problem with looking at the screen that just tells you what the pack includes, is it doesn't show you all the swatches. So you miss a lot of the stuff that isn't like the primary swatch. But I know there's also some like build mode items that you can do in rainbow. I don't know if any of them it's like the primary swatch. There's this little pavilion thingy that's rainbow. But yeah, the weddings are just kind of broken. It's not, I don't know, it's not something I was really interested in anyways. I'm not super into having a ton of romance and weddings and stuff in The Sims. And as far as I know, like I said, those Sims from the trailer are in the pack, but they're not a playable family. As far as I know, none of the families in there are queer. I think there might have been, like how in Werewolves, there was like that one tiny bit of lore with like a gay couple. I think there might be something similar in My Wedding Stories when you like gather the bottles on the beach. But I don't think any of the Sims are queer. I know there's one that wears like a very trans flag shirt and I was like, maybe he's trans, but I haven't seen the evidence of that. There's some gayness, but not a lot. I feel like this goes and could be gayer, right? I know we have a lot in here, but really a lot of the Sims could be gayer. There is a lot of rainbow swatches, but I just don't think that's enough. Like for all all of these, so far all the packs I have in Pretty Gay are actually gay. They have like canonical Sims that are queer, and that's not really the case in this one. I guess Morgan Ember is kind of at the same level as the couple from My Wedding Story. Maybe it should go in Pretty Gay. I'll bump it up to Pretty Gay, but I have reservations about this pack. I'm not really recommending it, to be honest. And finally, that leaves me with the kits. I'm not going to be ranking all the kits. I did a video ranking some of the kits back when we only had like 8 or something. Now we have, I don't know, 20 something, 30, however many, too many kits. I did want to look at the Pastel Pop kit though, because it's kind of good. That's the one kit I like. All these other ones, this is representing all the other kits. They can all go in homophobic. It's just like a cash grab. They're not worth the amount of money, and I'm annoyed that they got rid of stuff packs for kits. But let's at least look at the Pastel Pop kit. There's not really a way to search for specific kits, like to filter by them. This is one of the only ones that I actually enjoy. Plumbella helped design it. Plumbella is a member of the LGBTQIA plus community. I don't know specifically how like they identify besides being, I think, agender like me. There's some kind of nice stuff. It's not particularly queer, but it's just like, it's cool and colorful. But overall, there's just like not really enough stuff in the kits to really be worth it. There's a salt lamp. That's cool. I don't know. I might put this one in like maybe if you squint, mostly just because like it was made by Plumbella. But that's pretty much the main reason. Listen, I'm not ranking all the kits. I don't own most of them. Most of them are not worth anything. Like I wouldn't recommend buying all the kits. They're trying to make a quick buck off of us, you know? That's my updated pack ranking of how gay are the Sims 4 packs. Well, updated up until we get the Horse Ranch expansion pack, which will be happening soon. And you may in fact be watching this video after that pack has come out. So let me know in the comments if any new packs have come out since this video where you would rank them on this scale. And feel free to, you know, tell me your opinions on any of these packs that I've ranked or anything that you think I missed. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this nice little update. If you enjoy my videos, I have a lot of plans for more ranking videos as well as other types of videos. So if you enjoy those, you might want to subscribe so that you're more likely to like see those videos. You can also like this video, turn on notifications, all of that fun stuff. But whatever you do, I appreciate any support you give me, including just watching my videos. It's a great help. I hope that you enjoyed this one, and I will see you next time.